Good evening, everyone. This is Thursday night. If it's Thursday night, 7:30, it's Thursday Night Live with Broken But Not Wasted Ministries. Pastor Sarah Betroni. In your home, we are so pleased, we are so privileged to be in your home to share information with you, to remind you of certain things, to educate, and what have you, because this is what Thursday Night Live is about. We believe in the spiritual part of things of our lives, but we also believe in the social part because we are still on earth. With me tonight is Pastor Jocelyn Morrison Jr. He is no stranger to this platform, and we are so pleased to have him with us tonight. He's been on many times before. As far as ministry, he ministered to us the Word of God, such a blessing. And he is a brother in ministry, is a pastor, is married to his beautiful wife, Camishline Morissette, and they have three beautiful children. So I will not even introduce him any further. I will not read his bio because you're all familiar with Pastor Jocelyn. I will just put him on. Tonight he's going to be talking to us about, yes, 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 how to grow our finances, how to grow our money into wealth. Okay? And there are several tips that he's going to give us to do that. Because a lot of times, okay, let us just bring on Pastor Jocelyn Morrison so he can share. Pastor Jocelyn, bonsoir, bien le bonsoir. It is such a wonderful pleasure to have you once again. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. Bonsoir, Pasteur Sarah. Bonsoir à tous les internautes. Ça fait un bon moment, belle lurette, comme on dit. Depuis, nous avons une chance pour nous être capable de venir, so we could be together. So it's a pleasure to be here and share what the Lord has entrusted me with, so I can share with the community and be basically be a blessing to whomever is willing to listen. Uh, So, which language would you prefer me to do it in French Creole or English?
Both, or all three, if you don't mind. I mean, we have no problem on this platform as long as everybody can understand. D'aimer participer, d'aimer also que tu partages en français, en créole, pour que tous puissent avoir l'opportunité de d'apprendre. Donc, it's all up to you. All right, so we'll go in and out. You are such a blessing. Tu es une bénédiction, une réelle bénédiction pour le corps de Christ. What a pleasure to have you. And may I add that you look really, really good.
I have to thank my beautiful wife for that. She
Yes.
makes sure that when I go out that she does this, the flower and everything. Just make sure that. So if I look good, only have to give all the praise to her.
Give the
And if I
credit.
look back, give the credit to her. If I look bad, just blame me.
For the unmatched colors or what have you. Okay. All right, Kamish.
Yes.
Wonderful. You did great. You did great. And as you get on, I see Pastor Galen. I see Sister Karen. As you get on, I'm going to ask you to share this live. Commencez partager. S'il vous plaît, partagez afin que le plus grand nombre puisse bénéficier de ces conseils dans le domaine financier. OK, comment pour nous capables planter l'argent, nous pour l'argent capable grandir et puis pour nous capables bring it into wealth. All right, Pasteur Jocelyn, va parler encore. Donc, présente-nous ce que tu as pour nous ce soir.
All right. So it's such a vast topic, and then there's a million ways you could start with this subject. So let me just give you a quick illustration. I t- entitle I entitle it first thing first. Tout bagarre avant. All right. C'est um, c'est un professeur. Histoire là, pas vient de moi-même. It's not from me. But c'est un professeur qui a fait une expérience. Il vient avec un gros pot en vase jar, en verre qui est transparent. Il retire dans la table là. Ou pas qu'à ça dans la table là. You cannot see what's under the table. Et puis il mettait gros pot sous table là. Et puis, il y a tout élève devant, l'élève, il y a regardé l'autre, etc. Et puis un peu perplexe. Et puis justement, il prend trois gros roches à terre. Et puis, il mettait trois gros roches dans le vase là. Et puis, roche plein jusqu'à bouche vase là. Et puis, il posait classe à une question. Il dit, est-ce que vase ou bien récipient que je gagne, est-ce que il est plein? Is it full? Il mettait three big rocks. Is it full? Et puis, they all said, of course it's full. And then, et puis, professeur juste passé en bas table encore. Côté élève, il pas qu'à prendre, il prend l'autre vase, l'autre récipient qui chargeait à gravier. Et puis, il prend gravier, il mettait dans vase là, dans récipient encore. Et puis, qu'on a posé question, est-ce que récipient plein? Qu'on a là, les étudiants gens perplexes parce que they don't know what's up his sleeve anymore. Ils ne pas connaître qui ça le fait, etc. Et puis, donc, moitié classe là dit yes, it's full. Moitié classe là dit non, it's not full, etc. Et puis, qu'on y a là, les dit, OK, les prend sable, les mettez, assurer que sable a plein toute crevasse entre les rochers, entre gravier, etc. Et puis, les mandés classe là, est-ce que vase à plein? Et puis, élève dit bon, un peu dit oui, un peu dit non, et puis, qu'on y a là, les passé, et fois ça, les prend en l'eau, les pleins récipients à rabouche, les pleins récipients à rabouche, et puis, qu'on a là, il dit, is it full? Qu'on a là, étudiant dit, bon, I don't know what's up his sleeves, par contre, ça le dit, etc., we don't know, etc., etc., et puis, bon. Et puis, il dit, what is the story? What's the story? What is the lesson that we're trying to teach you? Et puis certains des étudiants disent, bon, on va essayer de montrer nous que même l'heure où tu as plein en récipient, on pense le plein net, ou still capable de mettre l'autre bagage pour plein toujours. Il dit, c'est une bonne observation, c'est une très belle observation. Cependant, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to teach you that if first things don't come in first, everything else will be out of place. Et puis, étudiant Jean perplexe, il dit, ça veut dire. Il dit, ouais, si je mettais gravier avant, je n'ai pas de place pour gros rocher. Si je mettais sable avant, je n'ai pas de place ni pour gravier, ni pour gros rocher. Si je mettais de l'eau avant, je n'ai pas de place pour rien. Donc, il faut que je mette gros rocher d'abord. Ensuite, moi, mettez gravier, ensuite, moi, mettez sable, ensuite, moi, mettez gloire. Let that sink in for a moment. On a parlé de finances. First thing first, la parole de Dieu. Donc, ça veut dire que, exactly. Donc, ça veut dire que dans tout ça, on a fait, il faut nous assurer nous que it's biblically based, que l'est basé sur la parole de Dieu. Ça, c'est extrêmement important parce que if first things don't go in first, everything else is out of place. Donc, ça veut dire que si nous pas basé discussion nous sur la parole de Dieu, sur ça, la parole de Dieu dit nous, sur ça, le ciel mandé nous, everything else will fall out of place. Vous comprenez? Donc c'est ça qu'on a expliqué là. Donc, regardez dans la parole de Dieu, gagner à peu près Et retenez-vous bien, plus de 2350 versets sur finance seulement. 2350 versets sur finance seulement. Et puis il me dit, wow, yes, c'est un nombre très, très, très imposant de quantité et versets qui parlaient de l'argent, qui parlaient de finances, qui parlaient de façon pour gérer l'argent, etc., etc. Donc, c'est pour dire que la parole de Dieu lui gagne en pile à dire sur finances. Donc, yon premier bagay pour nous songer, dans quel que soit son affaire, c'est pour nous songer que Dieu lui gagne ownership of everything. He owns everything. Mettez ça dans tête. Bon Dieu, c'est lui qui c'est what's the word I'm looking for? Owner in French. You understand what I mean? c'est lui qui est propriétaire. Voilà, il est le propriétaire de tout.
Il est le
Il est
propriétaire. Le propriétaire.
Exactement. C'est ça. C'est exactement. Maintenant, il gagne plusieurs versets. Genèse 14, 19, et Exode 29, 29, Exode 19, verset 5, Deutéronome 10, verset 14, 1 Chronique 29, verset 11, 4 à 16, Job 41, verset 11, Somme 24, verset 1er, qui dit à l'Éternel la terre, ce qu'elle renferme, Somme 50, verset 12, ou pas besoin de c'est l'ima plio, on va connaître tout par cœur. Somme 82, le verset 8, Somme 89, le verset 11, Somme 95, les versets 4 et 5, Somme 104, le verset 24, 1 Corinthiens 10, verset 26, a plethora of verses qui montrent que bon Dieu, he owns everything. Il est le propriétaire de tout. Thank God for YouTube. So pas de temps prendre note, you can go back, rewind, and play it again. So it's fine. All right. So non seulement he owns everything, bon Dieu, il contrôle tout événement. Ça, c'est extrêmement important. Pas oublier, dans ça, on a fait, on a mis la base, on a mis wash. Vous comprenez? Ensuite, pour mettre gravier, parce que si pas ça, on fait, the whole story falls apart. Et God controls everything, every event. 1 Chronique 29, verset 11 et 12, Somme 135, le verset 6, Proverbe 16, le verset 33, Proverbe 20, le verset 24, Daniel 2, verset 20 et 21, etc. Ça, c'est un verset que je remets en pile. Daniel 2, 21. Côté, il change les temps et les circonstances et puis il ramène ça caché à découvert, etc. En tout cas. Et puis, troisième bagage pour nous songer, que premièrement, bon Dieu, il owns everything, le propriétaire de tout. Deuxième bagage, que il contrôle tout événement, contrôler tout bagage, inclut l'argent. Il own everything, il c'est propriétaire de tout, inclut l'argent, que vous relez l'argent pour là. Tu as dit, ouais, c'est moi qui te travaille du, mais qui est-ce qui te bonne santé pour travailler du? Oh oui, c'est moi qui te travaille du, qui est-ce qui te bon travail là? Ah, c'est moi qui t'as l'école, qui est-ce qui te bon intelligence là? Oh, c'est moi qui te travaille du l'école, mais qui va le monde qui gagne intelligence, qui même plus intelligent que vous-même, qui pas gagne opportunité pour aller à l'école. Voir pour te apprendre un métier. Nous avons regardé vidéo qui est très, très, très triste. Et si vidéo ça est livré, réel, mais c'est très, très triste en Haïti. Quand un professeur en physique, un professeur à l'université, la vanne et comparaît. Encore, il n'y a pas de sous-métier, mais ce que je veux dire, c'est que c'est pour dire, c'est qu'est-ce ça que l'obligé fait pour le survenu a besoin. Est-ce que vous comprenez ça? Je veux dire, passer par un travail. Comprendre. C'est pas ça l'affaire, non, que moi déplorer. Moi déplorer que le fait que dans ça l'étudiant, il n'y a pas d'opportunité pour le faire. Même Jean-Tout ou même qui gagne travail, là, dis bon Dieu merci. Dis bon Dieu merci. Dis bon Dieu merci. Paycheck qui vient joindre nous, it's not yours, it's God. Learn this. Apprendre ça. Paycheck qui vient joindre nous, c'est que ce soit direct deposit. Most of us, nous fait direct deposit. It's for God. It's from God and it's for God. Bon, Dieu doit utiliser ce travail là pour être capable de faire et bon l'argent. but it is from him. Parce que tout vient de lui. Tout vient de lui. OK? Now, et troisièmement, bon Dieu, c'est lui qui pourvoit. Il est le Dieu pourvoyeur. Il c'est Jéhovah Jireh. 1 Chronique 29, verset 14, Romains 11, verset 36, il expliquait ça. Que God is the one that provides. OK? Et bon Dieu, c'est lui aussi qui baille richesse et le pouvoir d'être riche. Et lui qui baille possession. 1 Chronique 29, le verset 12, verset 14 à 16. Ecclésias 5, le verset 19. Ecclésias 6, le verset 1 et 2. Jérémie 27, le verset 5, etc. Ça, c'est parti par bon Dieu. Parti par bon Dieu, c'est c'est lycée pourvoyeur, lycée contrôleur, etc. Parti par nous, c'est responsabilité par nous, we are stewards. Ça veut dire nous, c'est les gérants de ce qui appartient à Dieu. Nous, c'est les gérants de ce qui appartient à Dieu. Ça veut dire. Imagine-toi, moi, dans entreprise là, li permet moi que je suis capable de gérer, I don't know, $100,000 pour lui-même. $100,000 pour me capable de gérer par mois. Mais $100,000, ça, n'est pas pour moi. C'est $100,000 que l'entreprise là, ben moi, pour moi, qu'à gérer. $100,000, ça, il doit peut-être l'être ben moi pour, I don't know, acheter crayon, acheter papier, acheter printer, etc. Et acheter toute bagage ça. Vous comprenez? Donc, ça, c'est $100,000 ça que tu es capable de faire. Vous comprenez? Et gagner aussi, si nous sommes capables de dire ça, donc, comme ça, c'est pas comme pas que lié. Comme ça, c'est pas pour moi lié. Son corps que et entreprise a me gérer. Vous comprenez? Donc, il n'est pas pour moi. Donc, c'est à moi de savoir, OK, mais qui ça m'utiliser pour lui-même, mais qui ça me fait pour lui-même, etc. Même gens tout, comme qui vient dans mon là. C'est pas pour lier. Apprendre que bon Dieu baoul pour gérer pour lui-même. What does that mean? That means que my next paycheck or your next paycheck or tous les deux paychecks par nous, bon Dieu va dire nous, hey, bypass ça. Guess what? It's not mine.
Hey,
It's not yours.
bring it on. All right. I hope there are some people in the live the Lord's gonna speak to them and say, "Give your paycheck to Pastor Sarah." There you go. just direct messenger me and say, "Yes, the Lord spoke to me." Yeah, yeah. You go, Pastor. Just like go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, it's not yours, and God decides whatever He wants to do with His money. God decides whatever He wants to do with His money. OK? Et en pile dans nous-mêmes. Nous pas en pile l'argent. Il y a une raison. Because God cannot entrust us with more. Because avec ça que nous gérer déjà, nous fait on travaille qui piteux avec lui. Donc, il pas nous gérer plus. C'est même genre, bon, on en travaille, et puis, you're expecting pour gagner promotion, pour gagner raise. Mais pour gagner promotion, faut que dans position qu'on y est, faut qu'on capable montrer qu'on capable d'assumer responsabilité, non seulement capable d'assumer responsabilité, mais ou aller au-delà de vos responsabilités. Si vous ne pas aller au-delà de vos responsabilités, there's no way you're going to get a promotion. Same thing with money. Même gens tout, si bon Dieu doit gérer $10, OK, bon Dieu doit gérer en $100. Et puis, dim qui $10 ou pas kabali. Do you think he's going to give you $1 million? En plus, le monde qui dit, bon, là, j'ai $1,000, $100, OK, m'a bail $100, 10, etc. Mais si je gagne $10,000, je vais $1,000. Bon, là, j'ai $1,000, là, pas qu'à bail $100, et pour comprendre, là, j'ai $10,000, on va bail $1,000. That's not going to happen. Same principle. Pas oublier, la parole de Dieu, le monde, façon que les régit par des lois. Ça, c'est une parenthèse que m'a ouvert et puis m'a fermé tout de suite. Mais l'important pour nous capable comprendre ça, le monde est régi par des lois. Et ces lois, ce sont des lois qui sont immuables et inviolables. Ça veut dire, dès pour violer les lois, en dans loi, ils viennent avec conséquences. Ça t'apprend un pile temps pour m'expliquer ça, me fait que ça dire. C'est quand bon Dieu lui mettait des lois, des principes pour que qui régit tout l'univers. Et selon ces principes, si on enfreint principe ça, principe là, il tout vient avec conséquences. M'a dit l'autre façon. Je me souviens de petit monde, papa me dit la nature ne pardonne jamais. C'est même bagarre là que me dit, mais papa me dit d'une façon que à intelligence petit monde, moi me qu'à comprendre. Li dit exemple il te prend, li dit sous une baleine qui l'humain et puis on petit mon un bébé, li pas connaît si c'est du feu et puis la laisser manier du feu dans baleine là, la brûler. Regardless que c'est son petit monde qui a 3 mois, 3 ans, regardless si son grand monde qui a expérience, si c'est un petit monde qui pas connaît, du feu, conséquence du feu, c'est que des moyens l'ont boulé. Et il pas pardonné, même si son petit bébé. Same thing. Dès pour comprendre le principe ça, ou comprendre la parole, ou comprendre comment pour vivre, ou comprendre comment pour gérer l'argent. Again, c'est gravier, n'a mettre gros roche, n'a mettre gravier. Maintenant, un exemple que nous apprenons. Il a dit, me sanctifié, regardez, non, me sauvé, ma parlant, langue, regardez, non, belle bagaille, et puis, ou sous tête en building 3 étages. Pendant qu'on parle, et puis, ou arrivé dans the edge of the building, on a dit, m'a prié pour ne pas tomber. Guess what? There's a law called gravity. Il est la pesanteur. Pendant qu'on parle en langue, on a cassé pied. On a tout perdu la vie. Pendant qu'on parle en langue, I mean, these are principles. Et nous-mêmes, chrétiens, généralement, nous disons, puisque nous sommes chrétiens, c'est de loi qui pas. Non, it does not work that way. You have to go by the rules. C'est de loi ou pas qu'à enfreindre, yo sous enfreindre, you're going to pay the consequences. Même gentil baleine ou boulet, même gentil et pesanteur là, ou casser pied, ou même mourir même, c'est de loi biblique des pour enfreindre, yo. Par exemple, si nous te dit, il y a plus de 2350 versets sous finance. Sous enfreindre ces lois, yo vient à conséquence. Il y a un pile monde qui dit, mais pour qui ça, bon Dieu, pas ban l'argent et bon Dieu, et the wicked l'argent. Si vous regardez bien, en pile dans le monde qui gagne pile l'argent, regardez les principes que vous fait la caille. Ce sont tous des principes bibliques. Vous pas chrétien? Mais puisque vous appliquez les principes bibliques, vous recevoir the rewards, vous recevoir les récompenses que la Bible gagne avec ça. Donc, même gens tout. Par exemple, et monde qui multimilliardaire, multimillionnaire, une façon que vous gérez l'argent. Je tout dit nous ça en passant pour ne pas oublier. Il y a un livre, moi, pas un livre chrétien. Je dis ça tout déjà, d'ores et déjà, c'est pas un livre chrétien, c'est pas la Bible, mais son livre plutôt que capable de recommander à tout le monde pour capable lire sur ce sujet. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. I repeat, The Richest Man in Babylon. Ou capable même tendre le même on dit qu'on pas gain chance pour lire pendant dans téléphone ou gain attendre audio version on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. Ou bien on audio I forgot the application for it. But you can listen to the book. It's a very, very, very good book about money. Why? Because it applies the principle of the Bible in a nice little story. In a nutshell, what does the book say? Rapidement, qui sa boucle a dit? Premièrement, pas vivre sous 100% de ça qu'on gagnait, de l'argent qu'on gagnait. Don't do that. Live only on 70% of your income. Premier principe ça, 99.9% of us nous violent. No wonder we don't have more. 99% of us nous violent premier principe ça. Live on 70% of your income. On dit, well, etc., déjà pas gain assez même pour me vivre, etc. How do you expect me to live on 70% of your income? You know what happens? Avant, tu qu'on gagne $5 l'heure. Ensuite, ou gagne, ou tu vives avec $5 l'heure. Ou gagne $7 l'heure. Ou vive avec $7. Ou gagne $10 l'heure, $15 l'heure, $20 l'heure. L'op gagne $20 l'heure là. Ou dit, I still don't have enough. And then, sous ta réfléchis, how did I live with $5 an hour? Now that I'm living with $20, with 20 bucks an hour. That's a question that you need to ask yourself. Ça qui passe, en pile dans nous-mêmes, malheureusement, we want to keep up with the Joneses. Pure and simple. Fair way. First principle.
I do have a question there, if I may
Go ahead.
interject.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's true that some may want to keep up with the Joneses, but at the same time, should we not take into consideration the cost of living, inflation, and the inflation factor? What time? Yes, I know when I was making $12 or $15, that was maybe 10 years, before, 10 years ago, but now 10 years later, there's inflation. The cost of living is higher. Should we not take that into consideration? I mean, I see what
Definitely.
you're saying in terms of living on 70% of your income instead of the 100%, but, bon petit lumière là.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Now that I'm living on $20 an hour. Okay.
20 years,
But
10 years later.
10 years later. But I started with 5.
Yes.
But guess what? Today, in 2021, somebody's also living on $5 an hour. That's where I'm getting at. So I'm not saying that you're earning $20 and then you should live on $5 an hour. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're earning $20, live on 70% of that, which is $14. You're still not living on $5 an hour, but now you're living on $14 an hour. You see the difference? Because somebody somewhere is still living in $5 an hour. So yes, inflation, there is inflation, but somebody's still living on $5 an hour. This is a mindset that we need to have. You live on 70% of your income. 10% you give it to charity, you give it to God, minimum, minimum, minimum. And 20% you invest. Again, this is not a Christian book. But it talks about the richest man in Babylon. And that's the way they do it. And guess what? Most multimillionaires, that's the way they do it. They don't live on 70%, on 100% of their income. I know a multimillionaire personally. He lives on less than 25% of his income. The rest he invests. And guess what? His money multiplies dramatically. On dit, well, gain l'argent pour le faire. But imagine the guy is earning over $2 million an hour, $2 million a year. What's 500 grand? Of course he can live on 500 grand. So that's what we need to, that's one of the principles that we need to do. Now, one of the other things that we need to do, we talk about stewardship, we talk about God's part. Nous t'ai dit qui ça bon Dieu lui supposé faire, nous t'ai dit que bon Dieu gagne toute bagarre, nous parler de par nous, nos responsabilités par nous. We need to be faithful, we need to be faithful stewards of what we're doing. We need to be obedient to the Lord. Okay, so Um, send your check to Pastor Sarah. I'm just kidding. Anyway, because guess what?
Just, just, just keep on saying it. Okay, the law of repetition. Just keep on saying it. And I see, our good friend is on there, Sonia. I see Sister Kaidin. I see Pastor Lenya. Just keep on saying it. It's the end of the year. Pastor Joe, you're doing well. Keep on going.
Because guess what? There is obedience. When you obey, you get rewarded. Pure and simple. When you disobey, you get cursed. Pure and simple. Same thing. It's the same principle. Il y a des principes, il y a des lois, il y a ces deux bagailles, des pour violer yo tout vient avec conséquences. La nature ne pardonne jamais. Deutéronome 28, verset 15 à 18, verset 33. Deutéronome 28, verset 45 à 48, verset 63 aussi. Deutéronome 30, le verset 15 à 18. Et Esdras 7, le verset 26. L'obéissant, cependant, it brings blessings. OK? Deutéronome 28, les versets 1 à 14. Deutéronome 30, les versets 15 à 16. Et 15 et 16 plutôt. Josué 1er, le verset 8. Et God is also holding us accountable for our stewardship. Matthieu 24, 25, le verset 14 et verset 19, Luc 16, verset 2, et 2 Corinthiens 5, les versets 9 et 10, et Revelations 20, verse 11 and 12. All right, debt. That's a big thing. Income minus outgoing equals what you save. If your outgoing is above your incoming, you're in debt. Pure and simple. You're going to make sure that your income is above your outgoing. So if you're living on 70% of your income, this equation falls into play. Okay? So, nous capables d'investir scripturally, on comprend? Gagner selon Luc 12, les versets 13 à 21, ben, bon Dieu utilisait les paraboles pour saving and investing. Matthew 25, verse 14 to 28, Luke 19, verse 12 to 24. And when you're investing, okay, before I leave that subject of debt, moun qui comment on dit ça? Moun qui a servi bon Dieu, they repay their debt. Moun qui pas servi bon Dieu, they don't repay their debt. Ou même qui servi bon Dieu, repay your debt. You owe it, paid. Pure and simple. You owe it, paid. Proverbe 3, le verset 27 et le verset 28. Wicked people don't repay their debts. Psalm 37, verse 21. Now, getting out of debt. Okay, well, you got into debt. Now it's too late. How do I not get into debt? And is there good debt? Is there bad debt? And so on and so forth. We might get into this, but let me give you a quick illustration. If I could share my screen real quick. Pastor Sarah, okay, yes. I've received this pamphlet from my dad, and this pamphlet is about, 20 plus years old. And then they give him that pamphlet back at the bank. And then it's so rich in a wealth of information that I just copied it. I scanned it to save it. Okay. Li parler de Logon mortgage. Again, this is so old. It's as old when again 20 plus years. It's so old. A mortgage used to be 8.5, interest. Now we enjoying 3 3% mortgage interest rate and so on and so forth. This is when mortgage used to be 8%. So this is telling you that, let's say you have a $100,000 loan, okay, mortgage at 8% under 30 years mortgage. If you make an extra payment each year and reducing the principal, you can save over $45,000 in interest on $100,000. $45,000 just by making one extra payment. Because by doing this, you shave off 7 years. Your payment is $734 right here. Your monthly payment is $734. You make an extra payment every year of $735, and then you save. I don't know if you can see that well. I can't see it that well. Oops. All right. You do the extra payment. Okay, $795. Okay. You do the extra payment, and then you'll save 45 grand, almost 46 grand for the year. Then if I have the chance, I'll bring a calculator that can show that. Something that you can do on a $100,000 loan at 8%, your payment is $734 per month. Okay, you divide this. If you cannot make the whole payment, you divide that 12 by 12. It gives you about $61. You pay an extra $61 a month. That's 2 Happy Meals with the family. Okay, you pay $60, $61 a month extra. By the end of the mortgage, you have shaved 46 grand, $46,000, and saved 7 years just by paying $61 every month. Let me give you another page. Go ahead.
Now, I have a question there. Is there a particular way to do this? Because we came to have this broadcast because of a question I was asking you. All right. So that's $61. $61 ça veut dire pour additionner par mois ou bien si pas gain tout $734 là. Est-ce que $61 là ou juste additionner la $734 là? All right, which would give us per month 734 plus
About 800 bucks.
795.
A little less, 795.
Right. Est-ce qu'on fait one payment, like, or just do one payment of 795, or you send your 734, then at the end of the month or a few days later you send the 61. Please clarify.
Okay, very good question. The banks are getting very clever. Very clever. What they would do, if you were to put 795, if your payment is 734 and then you put 795 as a payment, what the bank would do, most bank, if not all, I would say most bank, what they would do, they will put that extra payment at the end of the mortgage, meaning make you pay the interest on it. What I would do, I would put the 734 as a regular payment, and the $61, say, when you send it, say it's a principal only payment. Let me repeat. It is as if you're sending 2 checks or 2 deposits. One for the regular payment, Let's say, for example, if you're paying your what pay kobla na mortgage na banku, ou faire yun son regular payment, the other one goes straight. On dit qu'on paye $734 pour regular payment, fine. Okay, every month. Mais pendant même jour ou bien quelques jours après, etc., during that same month, ou paye $61 là, ou dit ça, this is a principal only payment. Principal only payment. That's very important. Yes, go ahead.
I remember your late mom. God bless
Mm-hmm.
her. I love that woman, your late mother. She did somewhat touch on these things. She was very good about nutrition and finances. She would tell us, give us little tips on that. I remember her teaching on that. Um, I have another question. The other day, I had a payment that was due, let's say on the 10th, and the next one was due on the 24th. I think the first one was a little late, so the next one was due on the 24th or towards the end of the month. So I'm like, okay, let me just do it together. So I just put two payments. And then that's when I called you. Then I realized I'm like, whoa, maybe I made a mistake because when I checked, a good portion of the money went to interest. I'm like, no, but I made two payments. But I made the mistake of combining those two payments. I should have made one, then the next one, or make it when it was due towards the end of the month, right? Because
That
they
is correct.
applied it to, they just took most of it was for interests.
Yes. As a matter of fact, let me give you two examples. Let me unshare my screen real quick, and then I'll share my screen with another while I'm preparing this other file. I'll give you two examples. You were talking about my mom, and then it's very interesting that you talk about my mom in that regard because um, my mom and my dad, that's exactly what they did. You nous taking on Kai in Fort Lauderdale, and then they paid the house down in less than 30 years. I don't remember, maybe 10 years or so. I don't remember. By applying this principle. Et my dad, dans l'église, il utilisait même principe là dans the church is mortgage free. Nous avons acheté un terrain um, um, of des centaines de milliers de dollars and it was paid in no time just by using the same principles. So, si parents you fell with their own house and then they did it with the church, and math don't lie, 2 plus 2 is 4. These principles work. They do work. So it's not a matter of, okay, c'est chrétien ou bien pas chrétien, I'm cursed. No, you just need to apply the principles.
And let me say this, they don't teach you these things. You can go to college and have all these degrees and all these diplomas hanging on your walls and what have you. You working, you're making money, and they're encouraging you to do the very minimum so they can kind of, keep stretching it as long as they can so they can get their interest in versus telling you, hey, you have the option of just making one simple extra payment per year so you can get rid of the loan faster. They don't tell you this, do they?
No,
This is
absolutely not.
wow.
Because guess what? La parole de Dieu dit que le monde entier est sous la puissance du malin. La parole aussi de Dieu dit nous que monde qui doit lycée esclave monde que le doit. Et la parole de Dieu explique nous que ne vous laissez pas mettre sous un joug étranger. It's pure and simple. Donc, si la parole de Dieu lui admonishes us, lui encourage nous pour ne pas esclave qui que ce soit. Dans l'autre façon, la parole de Dieu a encouragé nous pour ne pas arrêter dans la dette. Donc, c'est puisque le monde entier est sous la puissance du malin, ou après que le monde entier, que les puissances de ce monde a fait tout possible pour que les chrétiens étaient dans la dette. Guess what? When I'm in debt, I cannot help you. Guess what? Because from pay bill, from buy petit moi manger, avec famille manger. Whereas, if I was living on 70% of my income, investing wisely 20% of it, okay, I would have had enough to help somebody in need. But guess what? I'm living on 95, 100% of my income. Comprends? So, depuis que je violé le premier principe, ça, depuis que je pas entré, everything else falls apart. Everything else falls apart. Ça fait, on a parlé de dîme. Dîme, non, c'est pas seulement 10%. En plus, le monde pense que dîme, non, c'est 10%. Non. Dîme, non, c'est premier 10%. Let me repeat that. Dîme, non, pas 10%. Non. It just happened to be 10%. Yes. However, dîme, non, c'est premier 10%. Point in case. Je vais faire une illustration rapide. Nous sommes jeunes de pied raisin là en Haïti. Dans sous doka là, nous avons belle caille, plusieurs étages, etc. Dans sous doka là, on pied raisin. OK, pied raisin monté depuis premier racine jusqu'en bas dans le premier étage, il arrive jusqu'en troisième étage là. OK, tu as un tonnel. Ah, raisin aussi. Ouh! Et petit et puis ouais, super. Et puis me songer maman ça le fait. On les raisins donnés premier grappe là le prend là le bail grand-père pasteur Laurent Morrison qui était pasteur à l'église de Dieu du centre. OK? Li bail premier grappe là, li bail pasteur Laurent Morrison. OK? Ça le fait. Oh yeah, I see that book. Et puis l'elfin bail et premier grappe là bail pasteur Morrison, pasteur Laurent Morrison, guess what? Since that time, non seulement raisin yo c'est grosseur ça yo vini boule sucre avant raisin yo était tout petit très sûr qu'on y a là les mamans fait ça li bay serviteur bon Dieu à premier grappe raisin au grosseur ça boule sucre. J'ai fait cette expérience, je l'ai vécu. C'est mon vécu. L'aime parler de ça, m'a parlé de vécu. L'aime dit maman, papa, me brûlé mortgage, je parle de vécu. L'aime dit pasteur l'église, qui c'est papa, les brûlé mortgage l'église, ça c'est un vécu. Parce que les principes fonctionnent. 2 et 2, ils font 4, et en Haïti, et aux États-Unis, et en Chine, et en Inde. Math, this is pure math, it works. The principle of God work. And I can attest to that. Des machines que je mettais sous paiement, j'ai utilisé ces principes. No time, pay it. They work. They work. So, moi, je fais une illustration avec un Excel rapide. I did not do that Excel, so I cannot take credit for it. It's by Vertex, this company called Vertex. You can download it for free. Vertex 42 LLC, okay? It's called the home mortgage calculator, okay? So, by exemple tout à l'heure, côté, ou bien doit gagner en loan de $100,000. I wanted to, this is to answer Pastor Sarah's question. Ou loan de $100,000 à 8%, okay? Ou gain 30 ans de mortgage, n'a commencé aujourd'hui à 18 novembre 2021, ok? Okay, you're paying this monthly. Your payment is monthly. It's compounded monthly, etc. Okay. All right. Forget about this. So your payment would have been 733.76 per month, not counting PMI, insurance, and blah blah blah. You're just straight to the loan. Let's not talk about this one. Let's just talk about the 733. But because Sutago mortgage $100,000 à 8%, your payment without the PMI and etc. would have been 733. Mais à cause de taxes et assurance et PMI, you're being paying 997, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's make it simple. Let's just worry about the 733. All right. Bon, mon trou, et with this method, c'est ça justement que Pasteur Sarah t'a expliqué tout à l'heure. Look at this. Jeudi à 18 novembre 2021, à 8%, l'offre en paiement de $733, guess what? $666.67 allaient pour payer, remplir la poche de la banque dans le premier mois. Imagine-toi, vous faites $733.76 de paiement, 666.67 aller là le plein poche banque là parce que banque là t'es préto comme ça. Seulement $67.09 aller dans principal là dans maman l'argent. Let that sink in for a moment. Moi fais un paiement de $733, moi travaille du des et des heures pour me faire $733 paiement. Presque 670 la donne aller là plein poche banque là 60 la donne à nan maman l'argent 70 la donne aller là nan maman l'argent reten après le premier mois reten $99,932.91. That's why l'on fait deux paiements ça ensemble yo pas aucun intérêt pour yo mettre dans maman l'argent parce que même si tu as payé $5 seulement ça t'a bien tant $72. $67 ça, ou t'as mis $5 seulement, t'as $72 et $5 ça, il t'a pas ajouté, ça t'a fait $99,928. Est-ce que vous comprenez ça? Of course they don't want that. They are in business to make money. C'est au même qui pour connaître. Parce pas oublier, il dit mon peuple périt faute de quoi? De connaissance. But guess what? Again, you can get this calculator for free on the internet. You look for home mortgage calculator, you'll find it. Okay, it's very, very useful. Okay, let's make an extra payment. Okay, you make an extra payment of instead of making one lump sum of $733, $734 per year. Antico pagin chance feli, but let's make an extra payment of $734 divided by 12. Okay, which would have been $61. Okay, this is what we're making, the extra payment. Okay, we're making that every month. Guess what happens? Oops. You see our interest saving? You remember the $45,000, $46,000 I was talking about? Just by making that extra payment, you save almost $46,000 in the life of the mortgage. Let that sink in for
That's what I was gonna ask. That's over the lifetime of the mortgage, right?
Correct.
45,000.
Yes, 45,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money just by paying $61.17. So that means if you go out on McDonald's or Burger King or whoever, and then your family with 5 people, and you're paying a Happy Meal for everybody, that's already that payment. Just skipping a Happy Meal, and then guess what? You're saving over 46 grand. Let that sink in for a moment. Just skipping one Happy Meal, you're saving over $46,000. The math don't lie. Now, let me show you something else.
So that would
You had a
cut
question.
the mortgage and half the time you'd have to pay it off. Instead of 30, it would become 15 after how many
No.
years of paying
So,
$61 per month more?
so that $61, it's 1/12 of the payment.
Hmm.
So you see what I did? I did 734 divided by 12. So that's 1/12 of payment, which is equivalent of paying one extra payment per year. Okay. Instead of paying one full extra payment, I cannot find the whole $734 on in December, because in December that's the time that's Christmas time, and I have to give everybody gifts and blah blah blah, and so I don't have enough money. So
Yeah,
guess
but
what?
pendant
In
combien de temps m'a fait paiement ça pour cut the mortgage in half là? That's what I would like to know. Is it
Okay,
5 years of doing it consistently or 7 years and then all of a sudden, boom, I see like a great reduction in the mortgage until I pay it off.
let
You
me
know
show
what I
you.
mean? Okay.
Yeah. So by making no payment, okay, no payment. Um, the life of the mortgage ends 10/18/2051, which is 30 years from now. Balance of years 20 and 30, you pay $164,000 in interest, and then outstanding balance is zero. 30 years. Okay? Now, by making
You paying
just
164,000
in interest
167
alone,
in interest
alone.
over the principal that you've borrowed.
Yes. Yes. So your total payment would have been 264,000. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, by just paying that 1/12 of the payment every month, you're shaving off about 8 years, 7 years, let's say 7 years of payment. And then you're saving 46 grand. So your mortgage is over, instead of 30 years, your mortgage is over in 22.9, basically 23 years. Just by doing that $61 payment, you remove 7 years and you save $46,000.
That's
Now,
a long time. 7 years that you shed off the mortgage.
and save 46 grand.
40, yes. Okay.
Now, you said something about half.
Right.
So, in order to cut my mortgage in half, most people would normally think I need to double my payment. That's not necessarily true, because what you can do, you can just do 30% of your payment extra per month. Meaning, if your mortgage is 733 plus 30%, it's going to be $220. I know that's a little stiff, but guess what? If you pay $220 extra per month on your mortgage, you save 15 years and you save almost $92,000. You make an extra payment of $39,000, but in the life of the mortgage, you save an interest of almost 92,000. So you invest 39 to save 92. Let that sink in for a moment. So if you have a 30 years mortgage, second mortgage 30 ans, à $100,000, à 8%, monthly payment c'est à $733, ou payer 30%, on prend 733 multiplié par 0,3, c'est 30%, on paye $220 seulement extra chaque mois, ou
Et dans 15 ans, mortgage free.
Dans 15 ans, you're mortgage free.
Wow.
And you save $92,000.
Aller dans poche lender.
Exactement.
Okay. And the
So this
same
is 92.
applies for a car loan. The same applies for a
Exactement.
car loan. So,
Exactly.
l'autre jour, là, me pose une question. I asked you and you said, sometimes I have $5 and I just put it on I'm like $5. But if it's gonna make a difference in the principal, it goes directly on the principal, then it might be worth it that you just put 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 acheter, whatever with it, and then that helps you in the long run.
Exactement. Exactement. Donc, vous voyez que juste by, let me show you something else. Ouais, avec 30% ça, l'offre premier paiement ça. Oui, intérêt à ces 666 vraiment. Mais guess what? Principal là qui était 99 932, qu'on a la livine 99 712. Ou gain un shave off $220 à donner. So, donc, il descend principal là drastiquement. Tandis que sous pas de gain ça, c'était seulement $66 que tu gagné. Et non, je ne sais pas exactement combien il était.
61.
$68. 61? Let me do the math real quick. Yeah, 67. 6709. C'est ça seulement qui était sorti sous principal là.
Yeah.
Okay? Just by doing this extra payment, $287 sorti sous principal. A year from now, 11/18/2022, 311 get sorti. It's because we pay less in interest. Let's say 5 years from now, 11/18/2026, 428 get sorti. Ou still paye même 220, mais c'est 428 qui get aller. Parce que your interest goes down quicker. 10 years from now, 2031, avec même $220 qu'on paye chaque mois en plus ça, 633 gain en sorti. Avec même $220. C'est ça que fait. 15 ans from now, 585 sortis, 11/18/2036, ou rete $0.0. Et pour brûler mortgage. Any questions? I can't hear.
This applies to school loans too, or no?
Of course.
It does. Okay, any type of loan.
Any type of loan. And that's why I encourage people to take that that spreadsheet from the internet.
Okay.
It's available for free. And you can do the math. Every little bit counts. Now, gon l'autre principe que m'gen doit capable um, parler sous lui rapidement. Ça c'est les dead snowdown, les snowball. OK? Dead snowball. Qui s'allie? C'est leur gagné. I think I have a. Moi, gon exemple.
Do you want me to close this window?
Let me close it and I'll share the other one.
Okay. So while you're looking, here's the book that Pastor Jocelyn was referring to, Richest Man in Babylon. You can get it on Amazon for about less than $5. And what he's going to be talking about um, right now about debt snowballing. There is a man that who wrote a book, Rapid Debt Reduction. His name is John Avanzini. Back when Sino Songel, it was a while back. He used to be on TBN and teach on the principles of managing your money. And I read that book, and it's a great, great, great book. Pastor Jocelyn's going to be talking about that snowball debt reduction effect. So if you could touch on that, please. So that book also is about $3 and some cents, maybe $4. If you do decide to get those two books on Amazon for less than $12, you can get these two books to refer to in order to continue what we're talking about tonight, and you can learn, in more in depth. All right, so talk to about snowballing
Okay.
debt reduction, please.
All right. So the concept of a debt snowball is the following. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Okay. Is that what you're looking for? Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right. You good?
Okay. Yeah. So let's say you have a credit card. The balance is $2,338. Is at 20%. You have another credit card. The balance is for 15 grand at 16%. And then this is your payment. Your mortgage is for 50 because nobody has a 100 grand mortgage anymore. They are now 400, 300, 500, 800,000 mortgage. It's the sign of the time. Anyway, your car loan is 15 grand, 16 grand, your another credit card, and blah, 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 etc. But when everything is said and done, you're paying about 36.79. Okay. You're paying 36.79. All right. So if you were to add all this, if you see here on the bottom right corner, you're paying 36.79. Okay, so that's the same total that you see here. Okay, this is a sum of E8 plus E17. All right, that's the formula behind it. Okay, so what we're saying is, if you have no strategy, okay, if you have no strategy, okay, you would have been paying off everything. You would have paid $186,000 in interest, and by the time your retail credit card would have been paid on October 2022, a credit card number one on May 2024, etc. Your mortgage in March 2037, and blah, 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 and so on. And then would have paid environ $186,000, 128 centimes intérêt. Okay? All right? So what we're saying is to apply what they call the snowball. OK? L'on fait snowball là. It's not calculating for me.
So what I'm hearing here is there's a method to the madness.
Yes,
So
there's a method to the madness.
if you have no game, you have no plan to pay for the whole time the total amount of interest they're going to charge you for that $100,000 you borrowed. But if you do have a game, you can plan on paying less interest, cutting the interest, and cutting the lifetime of the loan as well. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, unfortunately, this is not recalculating.
Okay,
And
so please follow then the snowball
okay,
effect.
I'll say what the snowball effect. I
Okay.
wanted to show you um, the what it does. By September 22nd and so on and so forth. The idea is to keep your payment the same or pay your minimum on let's say you're starting with your retail credit card. Okay, that's what you're starting with.
Mhm.
Or pay a minimal payment on everybody else, and then you concentrate on paying off retail credit card number one.
Say that again.
Or pay a minimum on everything. Pay everything is minimum payment. Let's say the minimum payment on this one is I don't know, $100. The minimum payment on your car loan is let's say it's $500. The minimum payment on your credit card number two, it's I don't know, $200. You pay minimum on everything, and reste l'argent que tu as gagné ou payer on retail credit card number one. So retail credit card, let's say you shave off $300. So you add that $300 into retail credit card one. So this payment becomes 520. It's 300 plus 220. So it becomes you pay that one off a lot quicker. Kounya la, fin pay that one off, probably you'll be paying that one off in 11 months. Okay? By October 2022. Fin paying that one off, ou pa gen paiement sa encore pour faire. So what you do, encore, the trick here
You
is
reward yourself. You go shopping.
exactly, the trick is not to use that.
No.
It's, yes, take that credit card. Your scissors is your best friend. Cut it in half or four pieces. Trash it. Don't use it anymore. Don't say, well, what if I have an emergency? La prière. Don't use it. $220 ça que tu as payé for that card, instead of going to McDonald's or Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken or wherever and blowing that off, take that 220, put it to the next payment under 303. So it's 220 plus 303, that's 523. So it's going to pay this one off much quicker. Credit card number one quicker. Kunyala Lofin pay off credit card number one and retail card number one. $520 ça qu'on tape save là, instead of saying, hey, kunya I'm getting $600
To blow every
from
month.
to
You're gonna
blow,
blow this every month.
you're gonna blow this debt. On va ajouter $500 ça sous credit card number two. Kounya la, au lieu payer $353, on va payer $853. L'offre paye tout ça off, ou va additionner on your car loan. Qu'on a vini $800 ça, ou ajouter sous $500 ça, la vini $1,300 paiement. So your total payment is still 36.79, but guess what? At the end, Lofin paid all those debt off, who additioned everything on your mortgage, and you pay all your mortgage off much quicker. That's the trick behind it. So without paying anything extra, it's called the snowball effect. Nous connaissons nous-mêmes en Floride, nous pas connaissons vraiment sacré les snowball, but snowball c'est quand la prend speed, la prend speed, la prend speed, la prend speed, et la prend plus snow, et puis la vient bigger and bigger and
La
bigger and bigger.
NP
That's
grow.
the
So
exactement.
you're still paying $3,679 per month,
Yes.
but you're just
Yes.
playing around. So
Exactly.
the
And
mortgage
then you
payment
save.
until you reach the mortgage payment, which is the biggest amount, the highest
Yes.
amount, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
the largest amount, and then after you ou fait si snowball là tout petit ou t'es commencé avec 220 grandir, then all that money you apply it to the mortgage and then boom, and it's possible to be debt free if you
In
do
no
that.
time.
Okay, so
And mathématiquement,
mm,
the snowball leads you for ta payer ça qui gagne the biggest interest first.
okay,
Okay?
mm-hmm,
Ou ta pay credit card number two, which is the highest rate.
mm-hmm,
No, I'm sorry, right? Retail card one, which is 20%, then 17%, then 16%, then 4%, then 3%. However, finances is 95% psychological. Bien que ou paye un peu plus pour ça, but psychologically it's better. Ou paye ça gain the lowest balance first. L'on fin paye ça qui gain the lowest balance first, ou senti wow, m fin paye ça, ou
I see
senti
what you're saying.
soulagé.
You don't ou pas vin découragé parce qu'on long time pour
Exactement.
pay. Okay, okay, okay. That I get it. I get it.
Exact.
Okay.
Exactement. Kuna la, ou pay the other one, the next lowest payment, which would have been this one, then the next lowest, which would have been this one, then the next lowest, which would have been this one, then you pay your mortgage. So psychologically, li ede ou pour capable continuer parce que guess what? Internet elle a pas acheté belle machine, Internet elle a pas moving avec nan kay neuf, etc. Et puis, but you ou même ou connaît qui objectif ou. C'est même genre l'école, Internet, elle a acheté machine neuf avec school loans et puis des good enough ou même ou étudier because ou connaît ou gon rendez-vous avec graduation. You want to graduate. Same thing. So this helps you psychologically to keep you because the road is long. Yes, it's long and it's very discouraging parce que l'OSM ou a manger dans restaurant tout le temps and then ou même obligé chaque jour, well, not today, not today. Vous comprenez? It's it's discouraging. But look on qui objectif ou, you do it because that's what you want to do for your family, that's what you want to do for yourself.
Right. And to
Nan kwen
prove
pi
it,
bel bagay, low mortgage free. You have absolutely no mortgage payment. It's one of the best feeling ever. It's freeing. Parce qu'on senti, wow, I have all that money. I can do charity with it. I can give to the church. I can give to Pastor Sarah. I can do all those things with it. I can invest. Vous comprenez ça, m'zola? So again, on te parlé de dette, on parlé comment que l'argent lui appartenait à bon Dieu, on parlé de giving, on parlé de investissement, on parlé de tout bagage ça. Il y a de côté tout, you buy bon rate. Gen côté, par exemple, même connais, we can probably talk about that off the air. Gon côté, me connais que you buy plus de 1% par semaine. But you have to find them. I can talk to you off the air, but it's something 1% per week. That's almost 52% per year. Oh, well, that's a hefty gain. But you have to know, okay? But again, ou investi sa yo, etc., ça permet pour que ou accumuler much quicker. Then again, it's not to have $1 million,
Hmm.
but it's to be able to contribute to the kingdom because it's not yours.
Now, to put all of this into perspective and what you're saying, so let's say a young couple purchase a home at age, let's say 32, 33, and they plan out for the next 15 years to do this and to remain on course and to be disciplined in terms of their finances, just the way you've explained it to us, making one extra payment, using the snowball effects, and so on and so forth. So, in about 15, 16 years, 17 years top, this young couple might find themselves out of debt and mortgage free when they're 47 years old or 45 or 47. So, in the long run, when you look at it, if you plan well, even though, like you said, it might be hard, you might get discouraged, but you're like, no, 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 we have a 15-year plan to finish paying all of this. This is exciting when you look at it that way. So that's absolutely,
Exactly.
yeah, that is extraordinary. May bagay sa'yo
And not only that, you have all that money.
Isn't it
Go
Dave
ahead.
Ramsey who teaches on finances? Dave
That's
Ramsey?
exactly what I was who I'm going to bring up.
Right.
I highly recommend to listen to Dave Ramsey.
Yes.
He has his YouTube channel. You can listen to it. He has his radio show every single day. You can listen to him. He's a Christian. He teaches God's principle on money. His name is Dave Ramsey.
Hmm.
One of the stories that he's going to tell you, if you go to one of his seminars, he's going to tell you to run away as fast as you can from debt.
Hmm.
And the
So,
guy's a multimillionaire. That's the way he does it.
is that in itself, I mean, is all debts bad? Because you don't have $100,000, you don't have 250, $700,000 to purchase a home, so you do have to borrow. There are some people who do take it to the extreme and say, "Oh, no, 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 all debts is bad. The Bible says don't borrow. You'll be slave to the lender," and so on and so forth. Are all debts bad?
I wouldn't say that all debt is bad. I wouldn't say that. However, I can say, like the Bible says, that if you're in debt, you're the slave of whomever you owe the money to. Let me repeat that. When you're in debt, you're the slave of whomever you're in debt to. So, msonje te gwen epok mbat gwen pou l sou do mwen, mbat gen madam, mbat gen pitit, e pi I lost my job. Mte, I had no care in the world. Mte kouche mchita, map chante ou ke jesisere, jusqu'à ce que papa me slap me silly and says, hey, wake up and by day the tap al travail. But my point is, it's a very freeing feeling when you have no debt. Absolutely no debt. Mpa djou ko pa pou pa fe det pou ka chon kay. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you do incur debt, try as much as possible to get out of debt as fast as possible. That's what I'm saying.
Have a plan.
Correct.
Have some game up your sleeves because these financial gurus, they're just there to pour yo penser comment pour yo prendre l'argent, pour yo extend it as long as they can. So, ou même tout c'est pour penser comment pour beat them at their own games, right?
Yes. C'est quand l'adage dit, if you don't plan to, if you don't, um, if you
If you
fail to
fail to
plan,
plan, you're planning to fail.
correct.
Yes. So, absolutely. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock already. Do you guys, I mean, time has just flown by, really. Pastor Jocelyn, this has been just so enlightening. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have you come back and teach some more, maybe on 401ks and Roth IRAs, 401ks tax free for now, whereas Roth IRA, you have to pay the tax now, but it's later on you don't have to pay it, and so on and so forth. So it's really a lot of information um, that you have to process to become financially literate, because the average American debt is 92 plus $1,000 for like 14 point some $1 trillion in personal loans and debts. So that's heavy, to say a word that you just said, hefty. So if in fact we know how to tackle the debts that we have, then we can absolutely live debt free and then enjoy our money later, you know? And not to work à bourriquer jusqu'à ce qu'on 65, 70 ans, à bourriquer, pédaler, parce que 30 ans mortgage là, tu acquire when you were 35 or 40, 30 ans pour payer, so ou bien 65 ans pour continuer à travailler toujours. Yeah, right? Does that make sense?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And case in point, let me, if I can share my screen, I'll show.
Okay.
Um,
As Pastor Jocelyn is trying to share his screen and bring us some more information, I'm going to ask you to like the broadcast tonight. Go ahead and like. Pesez petit bouton cœur pour montrer Pasteur Jocelyn appréciation. Comment qu'on apprécie que le te vin là pour te enseigner nous, informer nous, bien rappeler nous tout. Peut-être de bagages nous déjà connaît, but we had put them in the back burner. So, pesez petit bouton like lan kounye, share the broadcast, and then comment. My audience now really quiet tonight. I guess they're taking everything in. They're not asking questions. They just left me on my own just to ask the questions, but that's okay. Pastor Jocelyn, you were just doing so great. Please go ahead and click on the heart button so you tell Pastor Jocelyn he's doing good. Are you good? Are you ready? You want me to put it up on screen?
sure.
Okay. All right, go.
This is showing the U.S. debt clock. This is the national debt. We're now owing about $29 trillion. This is 229,705 per taxpayer. $87,000 and three, 87 and $3 per citizen. That includes my 3-year-old baby. That includes your 5-month old. That includes your 2-day old baby. This is
How
this
so?
is the
How
debt.
so? How so, Pastor Jocelyn? How? How so?
So
How can a 5-month-old baby already have a debt burden of 87,000?
that's not that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this debt, this debt here of $29 trillion If we divide this by how many taxpayers we have in the country, this would have been 229, almost $230,000 per taxpayer. If we were to divide that by the 333 million people that we have in the United States, it would have been 87 grand.
Got you. Thank you
That
for the clarification. Thank
yes,
you.
yes, yes. So what we're trying to say, this is no joke. This is no joke. Where everybody's getting in debt, some people are getting and are racking up a lot more income. So we need to get out of debt, stay out of debt, and invest so we can be more productive for the kingdom. That's what I wanted to share.
And that's how you grow your money into wealth.
Correctly.
All right. Let me take this off. Okay. I think this is it. Pastor Jocelyn, it's already 9h10, 9h09, presque 9h. Yeah. So thank you so very much. We do really appreciate you coming on this platform. And again, you are no stranger tout audience la habitué ensemble avec vous. And I think you were very, very clear. J'aime toujours dit, il y a un blague qui dit que l'on professeur fin faut exposer, si vous n'avez pas de questions ce soir. Professeur a perfect, tout le monde comprend, bagay la clair, comprend pas de questions. Ou du moins, tellement professeur a bouillé tête ou par contre qui côté pour commencer, qui côté pour finir, puis toute bagay la, toute information go above your head. So I don't think this is the case, because even I, who's not really a number person, I was able to make sense, much sense of what you've said. So thank you so very much. And I'm going to ask one more time if there's no one who has got any questions. We're going to cut the broadcast right now. Thank you so much. Go ahead and like. Go ahead and like. Go ahead and like people. Go ahead and share. All right. Thank you for being here. But learn more to broadcast lunch is share and like so you can encourage us. Go ahead. I'm waiting for a couple of more likes and then we're going to close. All right. Thank you so much, everyone who was here. I hope you've learned a lot, and we're going to start applying the information we have. I
That is
have
correct
another
because
question. I have another question that just popped in my mind. After you make that additional payment, or I was, you know, not aware, I combined the two of them, and what they did, they lowered the next monthly payment. I was like, oh, okay. They lowered it to, let me see, 175. They lowered it to 111 the following month. How do I handle that?
that's a nice trick. So, songe me gagné on car payment that I was doing. And et puis moi commencé à appliquer principe ça yo. Et puis côté moi mettais en payment, etc. Et puis they did lower my payment, yes. And some other trick that they do, si vous avez assez paiement pour mettre en plus, they'll even skip next month, skip 2 months, skip 3 months, skip 5 months, skip a year, etc. Why? Parce que on dit qu'on va faire un paiement de $300 par mois, ok? Et puis c'est $10 seulement qu'elle est dans mon argent. $290 arrêté pour la banque. Ça au fait, si tu additionné $300, yo pas vle $300. Yo vle c'est $10 qu'elle dans mon argent pour que tout le reste là aller dans intérêt. So ça yo préféré qu'on fait, yo préféré qu'on prend break, on prend vacances pour que comme la gen t'en fait assez intérêt pour le couvrir comme vous t'es payé en plus ça. Parce que vous pas perdu gros. Donc, si vous payez $300 ça en plus, on dit que vous payez $50 en plus. OK? Vous payez $50 en plus. Là, on calcule combien de jours d'intérêt qu'a fait $50, on dit que c'est 15 jours. Yo poussé l'autre next payment de 15 jours. Vous comprenez son bel bagage au fait pour. En réalité, c'est $50 qui a repocket. This is banks. They're in it for money. You have to be smart. So, c'est au même qui pour connaître, même là, bon, vacances financières, ça, pour occuper, yo. Non, date ou supposé payer, payer correctement. Juste, et puis, in no time, you'll be done.
So, do I make the 111 plus the 64 to make it 175 plus another 50, or I pay the 175 without taking into account that they lowered it to 111?
You pay your if your monthly payment is 175, you pay the 175.
So, pa occupé au cap dit c'est 111.
No, no, pay the 175.
Pay the
And if you're paying anything extra, let's say it's $25 extra, you pay an additional $25 applied to the principal only.
separately.
Yes.
So do 175 and then a few days later do 25.
It can be the same day. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a few days later. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So I think that's very important to know. Là yo l'on paye en plus là et puis qu'on y arrive bon on paiement qui moins ou bien on dit
Yes.
oh you can skip next month you
Skip a month. Yes.
so don't do that. All right.
Don't do that.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so very much. I think that's my last question.
They're trying to do that pour laver mensualité.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Don't fall for it.
Parce que faut yo prend l'argent pa yo a yo même.
Oh, yes. There's no free lunch.
All right, Pasteur Joe, thank you so much. Voulais saluer Pasteur Jocelyn, la douceur de Haïti, qui connecté ensemble avec nous. Thank you so much, Pasteur Joe, parce que tu es connecté ensemble avec nous. I know. En pile bagay que nous t'ai parlé là, yo, assoyant pas réellement appliqué pour notre pays Haïti. But yes, mon qui a prend loan, but here it's more prevalent. It's plus courant ici. So, Pasteur Jocelyn, encore un grand merci. Now it's time to go to the Sherry. The Sherry who did a wonderful job, fixing you. I know she was like this, trying to.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. God bless you. And thank you for all
Thank
that you
you.
do to educate us on finances. So, guys, don't forget we have The Richest Man in Babylon, all right, that Pastor Jocelyn recommended, and Rapid Debt Reduction, all right, that I read many years ago, that I do recommend. You can find these books on Amazon. Puisque yo gen lè la lontan, so yo va réellement share that much. The Richest Man in Babylon, Pastor Jocelyn dit c'est pas un livre qui est écrit par un chrétien, but nevertheless have a lot of valuable information that we can apply, all right, for our finances. And the book that I recommend myself is Rapid Debt Reduction Strategies by John Avanzini. OK? And allez checker l'Amazon, la coûté nous moins que $12 pour ces deux livres. OK? So that's it. Pasteur Jocelyn, good night. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you. May the Lord give you his grace. May the Lord turn his face toward you. May he give you his peace in the mighty name of Jesus. I'll see you tomorrow morning for our morning prayer. God bless you all. Be well. Thanks again. Bye. Good night.